Hooked on the Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches and Palm Beach County, the best way to experience Florida. Welcome to another episode of Hooked on the Palm Beaches. This morning we're in Jupiter, Florida on the Loxahatchee River, and I'm with Aubrey Arrington, the keeper of this river, and we're going to see what we can find this morning fishing and also learning a little bit more about the ecology of this incredible region. Stay with us for Hooked on the Palm Beaches.
Let's go fishing, you guys.
There he comes up. Woo, look at that.
Pretty fish.
We got a big one, boys.
I don't think it gets any better than this.
I just cannot believe how many fish there are out here.
This is why you come here. This is why we do what we do. Off of Palm Beach, bro. This is the kind of Jurassic Park stuff that lives out here. Woo! We did it, fella.
It blows me away the fishing opportunities that we have in and around Palm Beach County.
Some of the best game fishing that you can have in the entire world. Fishing with us today is Aubrey's younger brother, Rob Arrington, my good buddy. I've fished with Rob in the craziest places around the world. He's got to be one of Florida's best known fishermen. He's got a great show, check it out on YouTube, called Deer Meat for Dinner. And Rob's going to take us with his brother today to some of his best known spots in Jupiter for fishing on the Loxahatchee River. Now I think there's going to be a little bit of friendly competition here today between the brothers, and I'm certainly going to try and outdo both of them. So stay with us.
We're in the estuary where freshwater meets saltwater. We've got the seawall here with oysters, with mangroves. This is the base of the food web. Like a coral reef out in the ocean, the oyster reefs, they are biogenic. It's organisms that create habitat, and then all the other organisms flock to it. You got all the crabs, all the shrimp, then all the juvenile snappers and grunts, things that you normally would see as adults out in the coral reef are in here as juveniles in the estuary. They might be in seagrass beds or oyster reefs. Wherever you find small fish, you find predators looking to eat those small fish. So what we see here, this pipe coming through the seawall, is a classic case of stormwater. When it rains, 1 inch of rain on 1 acre of land is 28,000 gallons of water. Multiply that over the hundreds or thousands of acres of land in the watershed. When it rains, that water runs off. In this case, it's a straight pipe, straight into the river. When we fertilize our lawns, when we dump grass clippings or dog waste on stormwater drains, that is discharging straight to the river. Working on and improving stormwater systems in our local watersheds is one of the real measurable ways we can improve water quality. This is a good example of a stormwater system. Anything that washes off your yard into that stormwater pipe is coming right to the river. And we, the Loxahatchee River District and other organizations, are looking at ways to improve stormwater treatment to improve water quality flowing into the river.
So Aubrey, the Loxahatchee River is tidal, right?
That's correct, absolutely.
Is there any particular tide that works better for fishing?
So most people that I know like to fish a moving tide, so not on the dead high tide or dead low tide, but as long as the tide's moving, incoming or outgoing, generally you'll find, my experience, better luck.
Right.
Of course, I like to say the best time to go fishing is whenever you can.
No doubt, no doubt.
Then you just got to figure out who's biting.
Right, exactly. And so, Aubrey, the color of the water is almost like tea. Now, is that from tannin?
That's exactly right. So people often will see brown water because here we have crystal clear blue water flow in the inlet and then brown water flow out on outgoing tide. And they often see the brown water and think it's polluted. Not necessarily. The brown water is just a natural product of the mangrove leaves falling in, of other vegetation, swamps, falls in the water as it's decomposing, just like your glass of iced tea is brown because of the tea leaves. Here, the water is brown because the mangrove leaves and the other vegetation that's decomposing. Not a sign of polluted water.
Gotcha.
All right, boys, we got bigger fish to fry. Wind them in.
Hooked on the Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches and Palm Beach County, the best way to experience Florida, and by Pelagic High Performance Offshore Gear.
So what I'm doing is I'm just fishing known areas. That used to be Perry Como's home. This was called Perry Como's wall. You get a lot of current, a lot of movement, and these fish, the predators set up and ambush the mullet here. So I'm just stopping in areas that I've caught a lot of fish in and that are known for fish.
Snook, nice snook too. Get out and enjoy the resource, man.
Well, Aubrey's got a nice fish on here. Nice snook. Looks like it might be just over slot. We're gonna check it out, or just under. What do you think? How big's that, Robbie? Beautiful. There we go.
Nice fish.
If you pick a snook up on his side like that, he goes limp. Beautiful fish.
Nice, Aubrey. Come on, let's measure. Snook, Jupiter, Florida snook up in the river.
That's what it's all about, right there.
One of the great things about the Loxahatchee River and the Fish and Wildlife Commission is that they manage these fish. We have millions of them. This would be one of the snook capitals of the world. They have to be in between 28, 32 inches. What Aubrey just caught is highly sought after. It's known as a slot. Yeah, boys.
Well, that is awesome. You know, catching a slot snook, you've only got basically a 4-inch range, so 28 to 32 inches to catch that fish, and it's got to be right in there. You don't want to take any chances with a 27.5 snook and keeping it. Don't keep it. You got to measure it really, really carefully. We just got a slot one. It's going on ice, and we're going to have some snook for dinner. Woo!
Back in the day, before we filleted fish and took the skin off, they ate them whole. And when you eat a snook whole, it's gonna taste like soap. That's why snook used to be called soap fish, and they didn't even think they were good to eat. Now, filleting them and take the skin off, you have that beautiful white fillet. Great thing about it, you can fry it, boil it, saute it, grill it. You can do snook kebabs, snook burger, snook stew, bake it, broil it. You can even smoke it. And that's about all it is snook.
Snook, snook, snook. Yeah, I got him. He's a nice fish. He's right here.
I'm coming. I'm
got
right
him,
here.
got him.
Hold on, don't
Hold on.
Go easy on him right there. You're only using 20-pound leader, and we've got to keep him away from the pylons and the seawall. Hold your rod to the left there.
Nice fish.
Nice fish. Okay, coming your side. Oh, he's off. That's what these snook will do. Their jaws are pretty rough, so you can feel that he's just frayed through the leader there. So you want to try and get these fish to the boat as quickly as possible, but obviously this is a consequence of snook fishing. We'll wait for another one.
What happens there, it's a fine line that you have to walk. If you use too heavy of leader, you don't get the bite.
Yeah.
If you use too light, you fray them off. That's why there's just a ton of finesse in there.
Yeah.
Aubrey, good job, man.
This is what it's all about, fishing on the Loxahatchee River in Jupiter. Look at this day, sunshine, it's coming into winter, beautiful time of the year, and there's a lot of action. We've literally been on the water for half an hour. We've had one nice snook to the boat. We've just lost a really nice big snook. We've caught 2 jacks already.
Had multiple other
Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a fantastic ecosystem, and it's guys like Aubrey that are really taking care of this ecosystem for future generations, so that our kids and our kids after that can fish this river for years and years to come.
All right, James, here you go. Currently, you sit at negative
Fantastic.
75 points. You've got negative points for losing the fish, negative points for losing the lure, and most importantly, you got negative points for using the handle on the wrong side of the reel. So good luck. Hopefully you make it back to even.
Let me just clarify one thing for the audience. You in America have got it wrong. This is the way to put on a handle on a reel. For sure, it's got to be on the right-hand side. What are these guys doing? That's crazy. Come on.
Hooked on the Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches and Palm Beach County, the best way to experience Florida, and by Pelagic High Performance Offshore Gear.
So before moving back to Jupiter, I was a professor at University of Alabama studying really cool river systems all over the world, and had a chance to move home. And I talked to my buddies from grad school, I talked to friends, professors around the world, and getting to tell them that my day job today is preserving and protecting the river that I grew up fishing with my brothers, they're so envious. It's the best job in the world. Literally each day wake up and say, what else can we do to make this river better?
Very few people know this, but when we have the huge females spawning in the inlet in August, on one tide, one of those big fish can come from all the way back in Jonathan Dickinson on one tide, outgoing tide, follow it all the way out to the inlet, spin the tide out there, and on the incoming tide, come all the way back. That is a fact. People think that they just reside out there. I believe the males reside out there and wait on them, but the females go and come.
Okay, so James, what we have here, the banyan tree here is a landmark. It's a local landmark. Anyone that goes on the river, you can say, hey, yeah, just around the banyan tree, and everyone knows what we're talking about. One of the great things, we're about 4 miles inshore from the inlet, right? So we call this River Mile 4, start at the inlet, coming up. The river is about 16 miles long, going all the way to the northwest fork of the Loxahatchee River. In this vicinity, the primary habitat is oyster reef. The Loxahatchee River District, partnering with Palm Beach County Environmental Resources Management and others several years ago, this entire bay up here around these natural mangrove islands, there was a beach dredging project that had too much shell on the beach. We used all that shell, we actually sieved all the shell, brought it and placed it in big shallow mats out here. And the oysters naturally occur in Loxahatchee River. All of that shell became substrate that the oysters settled on, and we created about 6 acres of oyster reef right here through a really innovative collaborative project. Always looking, what can we do to improve water quality, to improve habitat. We're very proud of this oyster restoration project.
So Aubrey, it looks like a lot of people have got mangroves like in front of their yards over here. What's that all about?
So we would call this a living shoreline here. You can see the limestone riprap down at the base of the mangroves, and then a breakwater, if there is one at all, behind that. It's a much more high-functioning edge of the water than just a simple vertical seawall right down to open water. So these living shorelines, if you value wildlife, if you value habitat, this is the way that you would want your waterfront to be. Nice, quality habitat out offshore of your seawall.
So Aubrey, if you don't have a boat, where can you go to learn about the system, the whole Loxahatchee River, etc.?
So there are 2 fabulous local places to go and learn about the Loxahatchee River. One is the Loxahatchee River Center in Burt Reynolds Park. It's a beautiful facility. Literally going there and walking around and exploring the aquaria, it's kind of like taking a small indoor trip down the Loxahatchee River. You see the cypress swamp, you see the seagrasses, the mangroves, the oysters, and you see the coral reefs offshore. Another great place locally is Bush Wildlife Sanctuary. That is actually, Bush Wildlife Sanctuary is on the grounds of the Loxahatchee River District. They're co-located with our wastewater treatment facility. Not many people realize that. It is the #1 destination on TripAdvisor in Jupiter, and for a good cause. It's a beautiful facility to go and learn about local native wildlife. Bush Wildlife does a great job on rehabilitating injured and wounded wildlife. You know, living in the Palm Beaches, especially to me, the northern Palm Beaches is fabulous. You've got Loggerhead Marine Life Center, the River Center, Bush Wildlife, these great local areas to go to and learn about native habitats, native wildlife. We've got actually the Loxahatchee River, one of 2 national wild and scenic rivers in the whole state of Florida that we can visit and enjoy. from beaches to cypress swamp to seagrasses to mangroves to catch a nice snook on a beautiful spring or summer or fall day. Year round, you can always find something awesome to do in the Palm Beaches, in my opinion.
That's why I'm hooked in the Palm Beaches.
Hooked on the Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches and Palm Beach County, the best way to experience Florida, and by Pelagic High Performance Offshore Gear.
Back when I was guiding a lot, I had a famous basketball player that called and booked a trip. He wanted me to pick him up at Sailfish Marina in Palm Beach. So in this boat, I drove all the way down there to Palm Beach, picked him up, asked him, what do you want to catch? He said, I really want to catch a tarpon. Well, I knew that there were tarpon. The only place I knew there were tarpon was in this bay right here. So from Sailfish Marina, I come all the way here, which is a long way, get anchored up, and he looks at me and he goes, are you joking with me? I said, no, I ain't joking with you. I said, why? He goes, because that's my house.
No way.
I literally came all the way here, anchored up right here, and that's his house. He goes, you could have just picked me up on my dock.
Hey James, I'm not putting the crown on yet, but I'm saying I'm winning the artificial lure challenge of the Palm Beaches today.
You are, buddy, that's for sure. But if Robert had given me a heavier leader, I might be in front. Incredible fish to catch, whether you're fishing inshore, in an estuary, even upstream in a river like this, or in the open ocean. Jack crevalle, one of the best fighting fish in the ocean.
So you can see here, we got the fish on his side. He's chilling out. You can tell Jack crevalle by the spot on the opercle and on the pectoral fin. Beautiful Jack crevalle up in the Loxahatchee River.
So Rob, the last time I was here, I caught a nice juvenile tarpon upstream here. And tell us the difference in fishing for tarpon versus fishing for snook. Because for snook, we're fishing structure. What are we looking for when we're looking for tarpon in the river?
So these tarpon move around. The snook move around on the tide. In my opinion, the tarpon really move around on the light. So at night, those fish move to one area. During the day like this, they will come out here into these deeper open areas. They'll lay down on the bottom, sort of just hover. They'll come up, roll, or if they're feeding, they'll just look, wait around, come hammer it. Snook, on the other hand, are gonna be in the shadows, along the seawalls, around structure. The tarpon, they like being out here in the open, maybe into the current a little bit, but all bets are off at night. At night, they'll go sit on points. They'll be closer to structure, closer to ambush points. So,
right, so totally different strategies there. I mean, here we're looking to target tarpon in these open, deep water channels or bays in the river, and then obviously for snook, we're using the structure to try and pull one out. But the last time I was here, caught a beautiful little juvenile tarpon, and it was so cool because it took my bait and I pulled the bait out of its mouth and I kept winding another 2 or 3 winds and it took it again. I thought I'd lost it and it took it again, and finally we landed that fish.
James Currie goes on the offensive.
I won.
Goes the cast and catches me in the side of the head. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's a trophy for sure.
I got one. You got one, James?
Yep, I'm on.
Oh, there it is, triple. Oh!
Triple up. Nice little jack.
Lost mine.
Right here.
I lost mine. Oh, there he is.
Going crazy.
Awesome.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Oh, right here in the boat.
Look at that. See if we can get another one while we're at it.
See this right here?
Yeah.
Fish lab! Okay, so what happens is we've got all this current rushing out. There's a deep hole right there, and these fish, these jacks, snook, everything else, they're ambushing little bait fish. And so we're trying to match the hatch using little topwater plugs and swimming baits.
If you got time, get in a boat, find a friend, get on a dock, go somewhere and go fishing. It'll make you feel better. It'll change your outlook on life, and it'll be a great day.
Well, we don't often get to close out a show with a triple header, but that was pretty cool. Just shows you this river is really being taken care of. Catching jacks and snook all morning, and what a great time learning your stories. It was awesome. Thanks so much, Aubrey.
My
Appreciate
pleasure,
it.
James.
Rob, thanks so much, buddy. We'll see you next time on the river.
I'm fishing.
And we'll see you next time on Hooked on the Palm Beaches.